It's time for another historical battle in Medieval 1. There's been a lot of talking about Medieval 1 and Rome 1 over the past few weeks or months, especially after that game design document leaked. And fucking Pharaoh coming out. People are asking me what I think about Pharaoh. Do I know what I think about Pharaoh and dynasties? I think it's not this. How about that? Pharaoh is obviously a Troy clone. It's even worse than that because it's obviously just a graduated DLC. They even admitted that themselves. It's a DLC of Troy that got up jumped, and in itself Troy is a Warhammer 2 fork, and Warhammer 2 is just a clone of Warhammer 1. It's literally called the second Warhammer, fuck's sake, and it came right away, so it's not like there's a decade intervening so they can upgrade the engine. So you've got Pharaoh as a Troy clone, which is a Warhammer 2 fork, which is a Warhammer 1 clone, which is a Rome 2 fork. So you're still playing Rome 2. What else is there to say, for fuck's sake? And what does that mean, to say that it's just Rome 2 again? Let me show you. Alright, historical battles. I've got COVID, by the way, so that's why I'm sitting here playing games like this at the moment and grinding them perfectly to get the best outcome possible. So, the Battle of Stirling Bridge, William Wallace against John de Warenne. This is one of the most famous battles of the Scottish Wars of Independence. 2 deaths led to the end of more than 100 years of peace between Scotland and England, and ushered in 250 years of rivalry, warfare, savage hatred, and border skirmishes. The rivalries and dislikes stirred up in these times are still felt today. Just ask any Scotsman for an opinion on English. I think this is my first time reading this, by the way. I just played it up until this point. The first death, that of Alexander III of Scotland, happened in 1286. The Scottish lords declared his infant granddaughter Margaret, the Maid of Norway, to be their new queen, and all seemed well. In 1290, Edward I of England negotiated a treaty of marriage between Margaret and his own son, the future Edward II, but sadly Margaret died on the voyage from Norway to England. She was 8 years old, and her death marked the end of peace in Scotland. Although the marriage treaty had been quite clear that Scotland was to remain an independent country, Edward I had his own agenda. He declared himself overlord of Scotland, and the Scottish lords played into his hands by agreeing that he arbitrated in choosing a new king. Edward chose a puppet, John de Balliol, who went so far as to do homage to him. Even this wasn't enough for Edward. His constant interference in Scottish affairs eventually provoked even de Balliol into resistance. An alliance with France was the result, and Edward invaded Scotland to reassert his claims to be overlord. He rapidly conquered the country, not quite, and even removed the Stone of Scone, the Stain of Scone, the Scottish symbol of kingship, to Westminster, and de Balliol was imprisoned in the Tower of London. But the Scots had found a champion, William Wallace, or Wallace, as medieval spelling had a tendency to change at random. Medieval spelling had a tendency to change at random. Was the second son of an obscure family. I don't think it was that obscure. I think this is one of the misconceptions that Braveheart played into, that he was meant to just be some peasant that led an uprising. But he was actually, just like Robert the Bruce, one of the aristocrats, basically. But he had proved to be a canny fighter and rebel. Also, this was how many years after Braveheart? Braveheart was 95, this was 2002, 7 years. Not that long. His campaign in 1296 in England had been successful, and he was rewarded with knighthood in his own right and proclaimed Guardian of Scotland, ruling in de Balliol's name. In 1297, an English army was determined to bring order, as they saw it, once more to Scotland. The walled town of Stirling dominated the Forth Valley and needed to be taken. In front of the English was a rough and ready army of Scotsmen, determined that they would not be underlings in their own country. John de Warenne, the English commander, sent a message to the Scots, giving them the chance to surrender in return for a royal pardon. Sir William Wallace's reply made sure that there would be no surrender. and that Stirling Bridge would be a famous victory for him and Scottish arms. Tell your people that we have not come here to gain peace, but are prepared for battle, to avenge and deliver our country. Let them come up when they like, and they will find us ready to meet them, even to their beards. In the end, William Wallace was to pay a harsh penalty for his successes. In 1305 he was hung, drawn and quartered as a traitor. The English saw him not as a fighter for an independent nation, but as a rebel against his legal overlords. Just like we see the Palestinians right now, don't we? Rebels. Rabble. Criminals. So we've got 20 chivalry knights, we've got 60 Highland clansmen times 10, we've got pikemen, we've got crossbowmen, we've got spearmen and some archers. So the Highland clansmen are here to lead the fight, and the chivalric knights that William Wallace is the bodyguard in is like the sledgehammer. It's really all down to the Highland clansmen and how they fight on a bridge. If you haven't done this battle, I recommend it. This is a really good optimization exercise. I've got 5 3xp clansmen, 5 2xp clansmen, a spear and a pike unit. They're the priority. I need to get them up here to stem the initial tide. By the way, I'm commentating on this after the fact because I wanted to get this perfect. For context, I went at this battle when I first started playing Medieval 1 a few years ago and I couldn't win it. But now I can win every single time, and I think I've won it about 20 times in a row. And this is my perfect, best run, fully optimised. I'm trying to just stem this initial wave that comes. Their units all have 200 men in them, and they have absolutely loads of them. They have so many, and they all just come up across the bridge. Historically, what happened is I think the Scots allowed the English to advance, and half the army crossed, or a third of the army crossed, and then they were set upon, and that part of the army was destroyed on this side of the bank, and then they scattered the rest. A lot of them drowned. There wasn't a proper bridge, I think there was just a tiny bridge. But yeah, I'm now blocking them with the 2 units of spears. Deep formations, they're just there to cause problems long term. I don't want to deplete my spear units, and you can see them spilling around the side. That gives my Highland clansmen a decent enough charge, and there's also room at the back, so I can charge right into them with my chivalric knights. And the plan is to just have all of this damage being done to them and make them rout. And you can see that at the top left the kill ratio is really good, especially after the cavalry went in there. Holy shit. I'm trying to get a really good start here because that's what it takes to qualify for a perfect run, which is what I'm going for. I have an amazing kill ratio. They have a chivalric men-at-arms and a chivalric foot knights. I've positioned my crossbows really long. My archers are behind them, really long as well. And I'm trying to get good firepower out into the foot knights because they have big bill hook things and they are good against cavalry. So they're a problem. I can always bail myself out with cavalry as long as I'm just dealing with anything but those foot knights because they're really strong. And see when units are on the bridge and are overlapping with each other, shit, they get heavily penalised because they're getting crammed. There's a name for it. I think it's like a crush penalty or something. That's something that's been missing from every Total War game. They haven't even bothered to simulate it. You sort of see it in Rome Total War where if units are getting crushed, they'll start flying up into the air and they'll even die. You see it in bridges as well. So I'm really having to rely on that. So that's a big factor. Stamina is a big factor. You have to actually cycle your units. This is what everyone wanted to have to do in Rome Total War with Roman infantry, but this is the game where you cycle your units and you really see the benefits of that. And also you need a charge distance. You need a charge distance to get good charges. Cavalry cannot just charge right through infantry and be expected to kill things. They have to have a clean run. That cavalry unit in there is a priority as well. I need to get that with the crossbows. I need to conserve all of my ammo. I need to use my ammo well. I've only got 180 archers, but I'm using every bolt, every arrow really well. So I'm making sure I've always got some arrows for the cavalry. I need to kill their general, that'll help me a lot as well. I'm playing this on expert, and I don't think anyone's actually uploaded winning this battle on expert to YouTube. I think this will be the first time. I don't know if it's just because no one can do it or what. For a while I would have been unsurprised if no one could do it, because I couldn't do it, but then now that I know how this game works, I can do this and do it in style. But this is a problem here. See, when your units are all together and blobbed in like that, it's hard to really disengage. Your unit at the back stops the unit at the front from getting out. I'm trying to just disengage my knights, even if it takes a lot of tries. And I need to put my pike unit back as well. Look at that. The pikes have, for some reason, just gotten right into the fight here. I don't want that. Disengage them and they've only taken a few losses. And I've really blunted their attack. That initial surge has been handled. Look at how much they have, my god. You can see my units getting depleted. I've only got 10 units with which to do this. They have to all fight well. Especially when I'm going for a perfect outcome, a really optimised run. I want to keep my spears and pikes deep. Down to 36 men. Look at this, 35 men holding back possibly 1,000. On the bridge where their numbers count for nothing. And I'm getting ready to give that unit a rest now. You can see the stamina on the units by the bars on the unit cards. So this one that's currently in the middle of the fight has 2 bars left, which signifies quite tired. Here we go with a fresh unit. Getting committed. It's not a clean charge, but that's not important. We need to get them committed to a protracted attritional fight. Look at all the crap they've got in there. They're all interfering with each other, so they're not going to have a clean fight in there. There's peasants, there's spears, there's feudal men-at-arms, there's chivalric men-at-arms. And also, if I get too far down the bridge, their archers will fire at me, and that's really bad. You really want to avoid taking any archer fire, especially when you have Highland clansmen taking the aggro, because they have no armour. They have a small shield and no armour. They're great for fighting in the desert, by the way. Almost as good as Gallowglass. Very similar unit. Getting ready for the next substitution now. I've only lost a quarter of that unit, and a position in the replacements as well. Trying to use the high XP clansman first. 3 XP, rank 3. I can see some feudal men-at-arms moving up now. Alright, that's this unit down to 2/3 strength. See how their units are all just blocking each other, whereas mine are free to just run back and forwards. Pick their fights. Take on duels that they actually want to fight. Fights that look good to them. And they can also withdraw, like, look at that. But they are demoralised by their losses, and they actually rout instead of pulling back in an orderly fashion. But that's good, because they still have 20 men, so they'll rally. Chivalric men-at-arms, they will do a lot of damage to me. They are armoured, they have high attack. I really rely on charge with these Highland clansmen. Crossbows are still firing, the general is getting in range. So I'm going to use the last of my arrows on this chivalric knight unit. I need to kill that general. See the arrows just flying over. Oh man, I need to get a drink before. Yeah, COVID is crap, man. It's crap. I've still got one, two, three, 4 units of clansmen that can commit to this, and they're well rested, but their units are all getting tired. That's one of the advantages of these crushes. They all get knackered trying to get into the fight and be relevant. So they're in a crush and they're tired, while I am fresh and I'm not crushed. Over 2/3 strength on this unit as well. So the spears did the job. They held them at bay and allowed me to get them all blobbed. The archers did their job, the crossbows are doing their job. Took out the high priority units. If anyone can win this cleaner than me here, I would like to know. I've spent a lot of time on this, getting this optimised. It's all about decisions as well. It could be tempting to chase the whole army whenever it has one of those chain routes, mass retreats, but that's often a mistake. Even without those archers it would be a mistake, because when they're all retreating en masse, they are tiring themselves from sprinting away, so they're going to come back tired and they're going to encourage even easier future chain routes. Come on, fire, I want to see this. Yep. That killed 2 knights and probably a few men-at-arms as well. My general's bodyguard unit is still at 2/3 strength as well. See how they're all blobbed in? I've actually tried letting them get across, but usually it's not beneficial. If you're going to have spears, for example, then you can give them that space because they can't do much with it. But see if a full unit of chivalric men-at-arms gets across the bridge and is in the open and is fighting you on fair terms, it's going to really be crap. They have 200 men, and you're going to be lucky to get a 1 KD against that, even fighting downhill, even charging. You really need to encourage them all to get blobbed on this bridge like this, where they're disorganised. 29. 28, so that's almost half the unit, 27. Yeah, look, feudal men-at-arms are getting across the bridge and are getting some kills into me there. Already lost 4. And this is something you can do. See if you see a free easy charge, you can take it and then you can pull out quickly. Like that. See that? I charged in, saw some guys on the edge of the bank and killed them. That's something that you can't really do in any other game. I don't think you can do this in any other Total War game. It's because of the way they take fights. They have a really sensible AI. The charges in this game are just so satisfying. It's really just... we've lost so much. I can't overstate how much we've lost. It was so intuitive back here. That whole cavalry unit just charged whatever it could see. It didn't waste its time just coming to a standstill amongst my own infantry. It took the easy charge on the exposed men and killed them, and I could withdraw easily. It's like with the campaign map, we've seen the transition from the Risk style map to full 3D. We've lost so much. Total War would be better if they just had this 2D sprite combat style and a Risk style map and just made it more and more ambitious and spectacular and deep. Oh, my throat's killing me, man. Shit. Yeah, so I'm still at 2/3 strength. See, the rate that they're killing me is slowing down. 2/3. I've probably killed like 200 or 300 men with that unit by just tiring everything out and getting them all blocked on the bridge. You can actually trace or follow each individual man down there and see how his fight goes. He's going to be winning a lot of duels before he dies. If you just pick one and watch what he does. Time to pull them out now as well. And they've routed, look at that, they've routed. 26, 25. $23. So every unit is above a third. The first one that routed is at 20, so I've still got a third of that unit. But I'm in, I made it. We're back on the bridge. Half of the general unit's still alive and I've used all the ammo. That was really fast. And my thinking here is that if I've got a lot of men really close, I can maybe demoralise them with that as well. So I'm moving them closer. These duels are so satisfying. This dueling system here.
The enemy general is dead.
Also, see the way men die, where they just become hollow and fall over, like they've been eviscerated? That is so satisfying as well. It's so satisfying. It reminds me of early sprite games like Sudden Strike. See Sudden Strike when I was a kid, and an infantryman, like a submachine gunner or a rifleman, got sniped. You saw a spray of blood and then he just went down, and that was it. It was really satisfying, and this is really satisfying. And the general's dead, so they've started to chain route, and I'm not making the mistake in chasing them. Now the next waves come in. Man, I'm only going to get one try at recording the commentary for this, I can tell. It's like, it's my first proper encounter with COVID, and it's like a horrible itching. I couldn't even swallow a couple of days ago, man. Every time I talk, it's like there's just an itching in my throat. I'm glad I got such a good run of this fight though, while I was afflicted. Look how tired they are. I think they're tired. Alright, here's an easy charge, let's see how it does. And they reacted to it, they responded to it. Yeah, that was not that great. Time to replace. Get the Highland Clansmen in for the perfect flank charge. Look at how they're cutting through them from the side. How satisfying is that? This combat is so satisfying, my god. If you haven't played Medieval 1, you need to play it. It's really satisfying. The movement, the dueling, the intuition of the charge behaviours. Alright, let's get on that bridge and keep fighting. Alright, a big horde is coming back. That whole army's going to be tired now though. Spearmen tired on a bridge, fighting against Highland Clansmen. I'm happy with that, I'm taking that. Look at how congested they are. They're all overlapping each other really badly. I've still got fresh units. I'm getting them lined up, getting them prepared. I've still got an almost full unit of clansmen, 2 XP. There's a unit, half a unit of chivalric foot knights back there. They're a problem, I'm worried about them. I do not want to have to fight them, I want them to rout. Look at all the death on that bridge. And look at how my unit is just pushing them back with their superior prowess and success. They can't even advance. Also, they all get stuck on the side of the bridge, and they're easy pickings when they're like that. It's like they're making way. I've got 2 units in the fight now. My spears are standing back for this at this point. I notice that I'm taking fire and I try and pull back a bit. Or a loose formation and move around. Trying to avoid taking losses, so I don't mind taking light fire on my general as long as he doesn't die. Because he's heavily armoured. Look at how long that unit is lasting in there. And I don't have that many men on the bridge, so I can send in more units without congesting myself. Look at how efficiently I'm cutting through them. And I'm really committed to this now because the archers have now moved away from the shore, from the bank, so they can't actually fire at me properly. So I can now commit to this bridge fight properly and try and break the army. This army is getting wiped out by guys with claymores. It's perfect. What a fight. Look at them carving a path. Pulling them out because they're exhausted almost. And I need to commit the rest now, get them right in there. Right, so that one unit with 31 men can take the forefront of the fight. Can lead the way. Quite tired though already. Got my next one lined up and I've got the 50-man unit. I should probably want to commit that one first, because this might be it. Also, they're really impetuous, these Highland clansmen. You can actually play off of that. There has been times for me where they've impetuously charged on their own and it's actually been good for me. It's freed up micro for me. Like they've had good sense about when to charge, but sometimes they charge in and you don't want them to and then you end up congested. You have to keep an eye on that. And it looks like pretty much their whole army is now on the bridge. So just by cycling my units, keeping track of their stamina, not overcommitting, supporting properly with cavalry and archers a little bit just to tip the balance during those really bad fights, you can get a really clean fight. Yeah, let's get that 50-man unit ready to go. And then I can maybe pull out these two and just win like that right there. We're really pushing them back on the bridge at this point. The spears did their job, the cavalry helped whenever it was needed to, the archers did well, did a lot of crucial damage. The general's dead as well, so the chain route will be a lot easier when we need it to happen. That's the sound of a mass rout. Come on, come on, come on. Alright, commit. Yeah, this is when I decide to commit. Let's go. The charging. Yeah, the mass rout. William can lead the charge here. Make or break. Do not want to have to fight all this crap over here. These are going to slaughter me in a straight fight. They will murder me. That's about 300 feudal men-at-arms there. They will slaughter me in a straight fight. Absolutely massacre me. So this is it. I need to break them right here, right now. Alright. General's doing the job. Routed, routed. There we go. I think that's it. The English army has been swept from the fields. And driven from the fields. Oh yeah. now the actual live commentary from when I did this. Oh my god, 267 lost. Holy shit. Oh my god. That is by far the best I've ever done. Holy shit. That is immense. Oh my god. Holy shit. Alright. Sir William Wallace, Patrick McConnell, McCollum Cullen, Alan Quingham, that's Welsh, Feradak Morgan, Duncan Brun, Macbethad Fennis, Donkid Arthan, Rory Quingham. Rory's a proper Scottish name, this is Welsh though again. Robert Gilbertston, Rab Gilbertston, Willie Boyd, Adam McGalkin, yeah, Donald Campbell, Sir Andrew Murray, James Stewart, and Angus of Cobham. Oh my god, 267 losses. That is a KD of 4, over 4. And I've got most of my army left. Holy shit, I remember I used to struggle just to even win this. And now I have absolutely destroyed it. Not bad for still having COVID right in the middle of it. Holy shit. That was sweet. Look at that, 367 losses. Holy shit. I want to see heroic victory for this, because that's what that would be. Less than... what is that? How many losses? Less than... yeah, that's like... that's about 40% losses, 30%, 40%. That is extreme. I love this. What a game. Thanks as always to my patrons for their support, which is a big part of the motivation for me to be here doing this. I do my best to reward patrons with perks, which includes monthly updates on what I'm planning and what I'm thinking. Special thanks to Matteo Olivetti, Nathan Black and Badr Nasser